The time is now 6 p.m. We will now call this regular public meeting of the Board of Trustees of Humble Independent School District to order. And moving to our first item of business, we have a public hearing, the 2020 State Financial Management Report, School First Report for the year ending June 30th, 2019.
Good evening. You should have each received a 2020 Annual Financial Management Report, both part of the agenda item, and it should also be in front of you. I'll be walking through just kind of a brief overview of the management report and just kind of talking about the current year rating along with what's new and what's to come in the next fiscal year's rating. So I am very pleased to report that, again, for the 18th consecutive year, the district has received a superior rating. This year, the district received 100 out of a possible 100 points. So this is, there are going to be some changes. So we don't anticipate, changing our rating per se, but perhaps the point system, the value that we'll receive in the future will be a little bit different. There are 15 indicators in the current year rating. Again, this is the 2020 rating, which is based off of the 2019 fiscal year data. It's always a year in arrears whenever we receive this rating from the Texas Education Agency. So a little bit about the rating. It was implemented in 2003 based on fiscal year 2002 data. It expands the public education accountability system in Texas. And all the rules governing this school first rating are contained in Title 19, of the Texas Administrative Code. The primary goal is to achieve quality performance in the management of school districts' financial resources, and the goal, of course, is made more significant due to the complexity of accounting associated with school finance system in Texas. We understand that every year there seems to be a new change, a new accounting standard, that adds a level of complexity to school districts' finances. Recent changes. So the latest change to the commissioner's rule was finalized in August of 2018. So those are the current rules that we are under. However, more significant changes will be implemented beginning with next year's rating. And again, that's based off of fiscal year 2020, which is the fiscal year that we just completed our financial audit for. So this is the way that the rating is determined. Anything between 90 and 100 points is a superior rating. Anything between 80 to 89 is above standard. Meet standard is 60 to 79 points, and anything below 60 points is considered substandard achievement. So again, there's 15 questions with a maximum score of 100. Of these, the first 5 questions are considered critical indicators, meaning that if you don't pass one of those first 5 questions, then you just fail automatically that year's first rating. So in your report that you have in front of you, pages 4 to 5 are more of a summary of the rating. They're more kind of high level. They just answer the questions for the current year but based off of each of the indicators. Pages 6 through 7 compares the current year indicators to the prior 2 years, so it kind of gives you a comparison of where we are this year as compared to the prior 2 rating years. And then pages 8 through 12 provide more detail. So it goes through each of the different indicators, each of the different questions, and then provides a more in-depth explanation of each of the indicators. So this slide here is a summary of the first, it's really the first 4 indicators. One of them is a 2-part question. But essentially, any of these, if we answered no to, would cause the district to not receive, one, to not pass, to have a substandard achievement rating. It doesn't matter what point value you would get for the remaining indicators. So the important things to note here is that, yes, we did submit the annual financial report by the deadline of December 28th as of last year. The district did receive an unmodified opinion. This, again, is issued by the district's external financial auditors. The district received or had an annual financial report that was free of any instances of material weaknesses and internal controls. Again, this is issued by the district's external auditors. Indicator 3 and 4 is basically just checking that we're in compliance with payment terms for our debt agreements, in addition to making any timely payments that we need to make to TRS, TWC, the IRS, any external governmental agency that we're required to make payments to, that we're doing those in a timely manner. So indicator 5 was a critical indicator in the past. It was not scored this current year. However, that is one of the changes that you'll see for the next rating year, where this will be a critical indicator again. All right, so indicators 6 through 15 are where we're going to see our point system. Each of them is worth 10 points, and just depending on the type of indicator, it could be a range. So we could get, it's either an all or nothing, so we could get full 10 points or 0 points, or we could get, a different point value based off of a threshold that TEA designates. So this first one, or indicator number 6 actually, discusses was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures. They're basically trying to make sure that we have enough cash on hand to cover the first 90 days of the following fiscal year. So anything over 90 days would give you the full 10 points. We had 124.6 days of cash on hand, so that gave us the full 10 points on this indicator. For indicator 7, this is looking at the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt. So anything over 3 as a ratio would be considered receiving the first full 10 points. So in the past, we have received a different rating here just based off of the cash that we have on hand. I believe it was the year of Harvey, right? We had some of our cash reserves decreased, and so this kind of impacted a little bit what this, how many points that we received, but it's never 0. We're always within an 8 or 6 points, depending on where we land that fiscal year. All right, indicator 8 is asking about the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district, whether it was sufficient to support long-term solvency. So this one, essentially, we pass if we have had any increase in the change in the number of students. So we did have a 10% increase from, 2015 to 2019. So you automatically get the full points for this indicator. Indicator 9 is asking, did the school district's general fund revenues equal or exceed expenditures? If not, was the school district's number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days? We actually met both requirements here, so if we wouldn't have been able to answer yes to the first question, we still would have received the full 10 points because we did have greater than 60 days of cash on hand. All right, indicator 10, was the debt service coverage ratio sufficient to meet the required debt service? So here, anything greater than 1.2 is considered to receive the full 10 points. Our ratio was 2.8388. Indicator 11, this is measuring basically the percentage of the budget that our district spends on administration, and to receive the full 10 points based off of our district's ADA, you had to have a ratio of anything over anything less than 8.55%, and we're at 6.39%. For this one, this ratio is asking, it's asking whether the school district did not have a 50% decline in the student to staff ratio over 3 years. But if we had if we did not have a decrease in enrollment, we automatically pass this indicator, which is the case for us. From 2017 to 2019, we had an increase of 2,329 students in enrollment. All right, so indicator 13 is basically compared 2 sets of data. It's the data that we submit under the Public Education Information Management System, or PEIMS, And it's comparing that to what we submit with the annual financial report. And it's just comparing for any variances. And it's wanting that variance to be less than 3%. So we just had a $307 variance, which is very, very low. Our threshold based off of that 3% rule would have been anywhere up to 11.1 million that we could have been off between the two systems. So we were only off by $307, which is very good.
I think saying low is quite an understatement. That's amazing. I mean, that just...
Yes, sir. Indicator 14, again, this is based off of our external independent audit, basically asking if the annual financial report was free of any instances of material non-compliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, and federal funds. This is really important. The district manages millions of dollars of grant funds, so TA wants to ensure that we are, that the external auditors are reporting the district to be free of material non-compliance. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right, and then the last indicator for the current rating is asking that the school district not receive an adjustment repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an over-allocation of foundation school program funds as a result of financial hardship. Our district does not have a repayment schedule. We're not under financial hardship, so we automatically receive the full 10 points for this indicator. Okay, so that's what makes up the full 100 points that we received for our current year rating. And then there's other requirements as part of the Texas Administrative Code that are required to be part of your of the district's report that is in front of you. And so pages 13 through 16 basically outline these required disclosures. The superintendent's current employment contract needs to be included as part of the report. Any reimbursements received by the superintendent and board members needs to be part of the report. Any outside compensation and or fees received by the superintendent for professional consulting and or other professional services. Any possible gifts received by the executive officers and or board members. Any business transactions between board members and the district, and any other financial or just regular information the Board of Trustees determined to be useful. So these are requirements that we need to include as part of the report. They have been included along with just other items such as the posting in the newspaper to advertise that we were having this public hearing tonight. And I just want to briefly talk about next year, just because it does fall under our fiscal year 2020 financial information that we just submitted and we just had approved in last month's board meeting. Just want to make you aware, and I'm sure you've heard that there's going to be some changes to how the district is going to be rated for the subsequent year. So wanted to talk about that there's still the same critical indicators. The first 5 are still going to be the same. The only change was previously number 5 wasn't included as part of the current year rating, and it will be again. It will be scored again. There are new solvency indicators. I won't go through all the specifics and all the wording, but I did want to kind of highlight some things that TA changed in terms of some of the indicators. Instead of receiving 0 through 10 points, now there are ceiling indicators, meaning if you don't pass it, then your maximum will be a different ceiling amount. So for example, this number 6 is a new indicator, but it's also a ceiling indicator. So there's no necessarily points added to, but if you fail it, then that means that your maximum rating that the district could possibly receive is an 89. So these are some of the things to look out for and to ensure that we're meeting these new indicators because it could definitely make the difference between a superior rating and an above standard or it can definitely change what the outcome is of the rating. Number 10 and number 12 are also new. Those are maximum of 10 points. I didn't mention this, but there is going to be a change from 15 indicators to 20 next year. So we do have some new ones that we'll be having to determine and ensure that we're in compliance. There are also new financial competence indicators. Again, the point system varies. Some of them are ceiling indicators. This first one, number 15, will be a maximum of 5 points, where we're comparing the district's projected ADA to actual ADA. They want to see that we're within a certain variance and that we're calculating or projecting accurately. I did want to highlight that numbers 16 and 17 indicators for next year, they're not new, But the way that TEA is looking at them going forward is that they're going to be ceiling indicators instead of being assessed a point value of 10 points as they were previously. Lastly, the last two financial indicators, one of them is just if the district is posting the required financial information on its website as it's required to do. Another one is related to whether the school board members discuss the district's property values at a board meeting within 120 days before the district's adopted its budget. Again, this one's a ceiling indicator. So these are just things to be looking out for. I am pleased to announce that I went through and I did the calculation for next year based off of a template that TEA has. So it does look like we're in good shape, that the district will receive a superior rating. We likely won't get the full 100 points just because of the way that they're doing their thresholds and their ranges. But I'm pretty confident that we're going to get another superior rating for the subsequent first rating. All right, so with that, I will leave it open to any questions or comments.
Any questions or comments from the board? Once again, great job. I mean,
I think we need to go through the technicality of asking if there are any questions or
yeah, is there any questions or comments from patrons of the community? Not seeing any. So once again, I mean, this is becoming a habit year after year. We pride ourselves on excellence in everything we do in Humble ISD, and you know, without sound financial management, we can't do that. And Mike and your staff, thank you all very much for everything you do, and we greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. All right. No approvals or anything like that, right? Okay, I didn't think so. All right. Yeah. Okay. At this point in time, we'd like to close the public hearing on the 2020 State Financial Management Report, the School First Report for the year ending June 30th, 2019, and we will adjourn to closed session. The time is now 7:04 p.m. We will now reconvene into our open session. I'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Reminder that the meetings of the board are open to the public but are not meeting of the public. The Humble ISD Board of Trustees meet monthly in a regular meeting to receive reports from staff and take action from recommendations of the superintendent. The board does receive the agenda and all supporting documents several days in advance of the regular meetings, which allow us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions in advance of the regular board meeting. Therefore, lengthy discussions are not always necessary on every agenda item, but as a board, we do have the appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of the meeting tonight. There are students and other guests present to maintain decorum. Respectful behavior is expected. Disruptive behavior and/or comments will not be allowed. Also, when we get into public comment, just a reminder, the board members are not allowed to, via the open meetings law, is not allowed to comment on anything that is not listed as a specific agenda item. So with that, we'll move to our first item of business, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. If we could have everyone stand, please.
First, the American flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Students, a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Dr. Fagan, commendations and recognitions tonight.
Wonderful. Inspiring moments. We have a very special, inspiring moment for you this evening that I believe you will really enjoy. Students at Lakeland Elementary School and Northbelt Elementary School are experiencing fine arts at a very young age. Humble ISD began piloting a fine and performing arts wheel at Lakeland Elementary School last school year and expanded it to Northbelt this school year to provide students with the opportunity to experience orchestra, band, theater, choir, mariachi, and dance in elementary school. Participating in the arts is both a mental and physical activity. The arts encompasses concepts from reading, math, social studies, and science, and students work together in collaborative environments to perform. Tonight's inspiring moment is actually a live performance of the 5th grade violins from Lakeland Elementary School. Their teacher, Mr. Edward Gleason, will now introduce the group.
Good evening. My name is Edward Gleason. I'm one of 4 fine arts teachers at Lakeland Elementary. Thanks to Dr. Fagan and the board, Lakeland hosts one of the Fine Arts Wheel programs, which provides our students with the opportunity to become an expert in one of 7 different instruments, theater and dance, or art in elementary school. The experience of music and art enriches their lives. As their teacher, I am thrilled to be part of this program. I have seen students grasp concepts and ideas that they may have never had any contact with without this program. I am so grateful for this opportunity to share some of their work. This year has come with challenges, and these children have stuck with it regardless. Let me introduce you to 7 wonderful 5th graders. Andre Castro Real, Alex Gonzalez Campos, Zulemi Lugo Torres, Megan McQueen, Stephanie Pina, Seven Smith, and Monica Tufino Aguilar. We will perform 2 songs tonight, Jingle Bells and Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone. Enjoy.
I want to recognize Lakeland Elementary School Principal Lucy Anderson. She was clear up here. Yeah, there she is, proud Principal Anderson. Ms. Anderson was also chosen as the Humble ISD Elementary Principal of the Year for her enthusiasm in taking on new and innovative approaches to learning. We are now going to take a photo with Ms. Anderson, Mr. Gleason, and these talented violinists. So congratulations to all of you. This is a new program, and that was a fantastic job. So thank you one more time.
Come up closer? Yeah, parents, come up. Come on all the way. The good seats don't cost any more. That's right.
Yeah, the cheap seats are good.
Good seats are cheap.
That's right.
While we're transitioning, I would be remiss if I didn't say congratulations to Jenny Olgies. She's probably out in the hall now, but Jenny has been a really important part of creating, there she is right there. So congratulations and thank you to Jenny for all of her hard work. She's an assistant or a coordinator in our fine arts department, and she's been instrumental in helping create this fine arts performing wheel at both Lakeland and North Belt. Okay, joining us now at the podium are high school students who are here to share information about the upcoming Humble ISD Livestock Show.
Good evening. My name is Kennedy Joyner, and I am the president of the Atascocita FFA chapter. Next month, I will be attending the Humble ISD Livestock Show and Rodeo and showing my market lamb. Although we are here today to inform you of the Humble Livestock Show and auction, we would like to take a moment to discuss everything FFA has to offer. Livestock is just a small portion of our organization. FFA is the largest student-led organization in the United States that teaches each of its members the importance of responsibility, teamwork, and most of all, leadership. I have personally experienced some of my most important life lessons through this organization. I truly believe that FFA helps to create our next world leaders. To say that FFA has better prepared me for my future would be an understatement. I feel that it is more appropriate to say that I am now at an advantage not only in my everyday life setting, but as well as the workforce area.
Good evening. My name is Mary Martinez, and I am the Kingwood FFA Vice President. I am currently raising a goat for the 2021 Humble Livestock Show. I'm here tonight to share with you some of the biggest achievements that our Humble ISD FFA chapters have received throughout this year. We had one Humble ISD FFA alumni receive their American degree, the highest honor in the FFA organization. We have one Area 3 and 2 District FFA officers representing Humble ISD. A district officer serves 18 schools within our area, while an area officer serves 87 schools and over 13,000 students across Houston. The FFA programs of the Humble ISD high schools participated in district LDEs, and we had 11 teams advance to the area LDE contest and 1 team advance to the state contest. Thank you for your support of our programs and for allowing us to continue to excel.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Andrea Meneses, and I'm president of the Humble FFA. For this year's livestock show, I will be raising a pig, and I would love to invite all of you to come out to this year's livestock show and watch the participants in their shining moment as they enter the ring. Tuesday, January 19th, is when you will start to see the animals move into the Civic Center arena. Later that afternoon is the start of the rabbit, lamb, and goat shows, all beginning at noon. Then, on Wednesday morning, starting at 8 a.m., is when the poultry and swine exhibitors will have their moment in the spotlight. And later that same afternoon, at 2 p.m., is when the steer show will start. On behalf of all of the animal exhibitors, we truly hope that you can come out to watch and support all of the exhibitors as they enter the ring in their moment of glory. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening. My name is Abby Rodee, and I'm the Summer Creek FFA president. For my senior year, I'm raising a steer. This year at our show, we're starting a new tradition to allow exhibitors who do not place in the live auction the opportunity to sell their animals for profit. As always, our top 10 animals go to the live auction to be bought at premium prices by the generous support of our community members. The freezer sale will allow our students to see the full cycle of production agriculture from start to finish, and also give our community members the option to stock their freezers full of locally grown meats. The freezer sale will begin 30 minutes after each species is shown and will end on Friday, January 22nd, 1 hour before checkout. Buyers can select their animal online at www.humblelivestockshow.com and must be purchased in person at the livestock show. Thank you and happy holidays.
Good evening. I'm Caitlin Spangler from the Kingwood Park FFA chapter, and I'm raising a pig for the Humble Livestock Show. Each year, we dedicate our livestock show to a community member who has had a great impact on our chapters and support our livestock show. This year, our show has been dedicated to facility sources. I would like to extend an invitation to all of you to attend our auction Thursday, January 21st at 1 p.m. at the Humble Civic Center. Beforehand, there'll be a buyer's lunch beginning at noon. During this auction, the top 10 in each species will be sold to the highest bidder. It is a fun and exciting event for my fellow FFA members to sell their animals. If you have never attended our auction, I highly recommend it. It is a fun and exciting event and would really appreciate your attendance. If you're interested in donating monetarily to help Humble ISD bid on animals, please contact Ms. Haley Jones at the CTE office. As always, we thank you for your service to students like myself, the faculty and staff, and above all, the community in which you serve. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
What was the website for the online auction?
So it will be at www.humblelivestockshow.com. The freezer sale is not quite up yet, but it will be. And since it is a school evening, we're going to allow these students and wonderful teachers to head on home for the night as well so that they can be prepared for their lessons tomorrow. As normal, we thank you for your participation and your support of the Humble ISD Livestock Show. It is a wonderful tradition, and we're excited to continue that tradition this coming year.
And once again, that was humblelivestockshow.com.
That's correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure everybody hears that. www.humblelivestockshow.com. All right.
Is that the website?
That would be the website.
What's the phone number?
I also want to remind everyone that the auction's on a Thursday this year instead of the traditional Friday. So, a couple changes, online section and Thursday instead of Friday, so.
Absolutely. What two great groups we got to see tonight in one board meeting, right? I mean, those fifth graders, they learned how to read music, they learned how to play violins, and they put it all together and played 2 whole songs. I'm so proud of them. And also the FFA, what a wonderful organization, such well-spoken young adults to get up at a podium, and yeah, so impressive. That's it for us on this part this evening. Super staffers will actually resume in February. So that concludes our accommodations and recognitions.
Thank you, Dr. Fagan. All right, so our next item is questions and comments by patrons or employees of the district regarding agenda items and any other matters. Again, as a reminder, the trustees cannot comment on anything that's not specifically on one of the agenda items in tonight's meeting. So we have one person signed up, Janet Hamilton, did not make it. So no one's in the waiting room? All right, we do not have any public comment then for tonight, so we're going to go to comments by individual board members. I'll start to my right. Mr. Lopez.
I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and that's about it. That's all I have. I'll kick it to, I'll save all my comments for the agenda item that's in the agenda. There you go.
All right. Is it in the agenda?
You will find out.
All right.
It's a secret.
Okay, all right. As long as it's on the agenda
It's going
and
to
you
be
want to speak
Christmas.
about it. So.
This will be Christmas. That's right, Christmas surprise.
All right, perfect, perfect. Ms. Morrison.
Well, first of all, kudos to the kids. That is just absolutely outstanding. So glad we finally have it now in the elementary, and the kids are doing great. That is just outstanding. And I would also like to give a huge thank you for all of our staff that works on our website. I don't know if everybody out there, and I would continue to tell the community, you need to check it, because if you want to know anything about Humble, it's there. But I really do appreciate the good work that they have done, because needless to say, you know, sometimes you don't get to get out as much as you used to, and it's really nice to have all the news right there. So a huge thank you. And congratulations to Lucy Anderson at Lakeland. I mean, that is a huge, successful program. And Lucy, thank you again. And Lucy Schultz, I mean, that is just, to see us get to that point is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, and I too wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Mr. Scarfo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a very happy holiday season. And I wish for the new year, for each and every one of us, that it brings us health and normalcy. That would be a nice thing to get, and hopefully we're heading down that track. And again, as we always do, and this has been a pretty unprecedented year thus far, these last 10 months. But I'll tell you what, I just want to say to Dr. Fagan again, and to all her staff, her cabinet, and all the staff throughout the district, on campuses, facilities, everything, just the extraordinary job that they have done to meet this unprecedented pandemic crisis and all that it's caused, and to keep things running so well. It's just a testament to their dedication and their competencies, and words just don't really describe it. And also, it was so great to see, since we don't get to visit campuses right now, to get to see the kids actually here doing something, that's a great Christmas present. I really appreciate getting to see that, and thanks to our FFA students for being here. Those are some hard-working kiddos. I got to tell you, you know about raising an animal. Just having to get up there in the morning to feed them, let alone coming back at night. But they really do work hard. Fingers crossed that those events can go off and they get to have the fun of the fruits of their hard labor. So that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Scarfo. To my left, Ms. Toomey.
So I greatly enjoyed, I guess I should turn this on. I greatly enjoyed seeing the students from Lakeland perform and just seeing the fruits of the Fine Arts Wheel that was, has been recently implemented. That was one of the first things that was introduced by the administration that the board voted on when I came onto the board, and just seeing sort of some of the results of that is exciting. I look forward to seeing the expansion of that Fine Arts Wheel as we continue forward, along with one of the agenda items for today when we're voting on curriculum of the CTE expansion in that particular wheel down in the 6th grade. I'm very excited to see that. I think that's just a sign that our district is moving in the right direction. I also attended, a couple of weeks ago, I attended the Leadership TASB session, so it was really interesting. Thank you guys for sending me and allowing me to be a part of that. We got to visit up close and personal with Navarro ISD, which is a really interesting school district outside of the San Marcos area. Dr. Fagan, you would relate to this a little bit. It's a fast growth district. Although it is a small district, it is fast growth. So they have 1,865 students this year, but they're expecting 2,500 students next year, and they're going to have, they expect 5,000 homes to be built in the next 2 to 3 growth. So I related to that a little bit with their building and planning, and they have a new superintendent that started this summer in the midst of the pandemic in Wendy Russell. So it was nice to meet with her and get to speak. And so I'm looking forward to what the rest of the Leadership TASB sessions have in store.
Thank you, Ms. Toomey. Mr. Ingelaghi.
Mr. President, thank you so much. I had no idea that I would finish all of my Christmas shopping tonight. This has been my wife asked me what I was going to get her, and I have no idea what's in here, but she's going to be so shocked that I did it in one night. And I got a little cake and some balloons, so she's going to be all excited. Not really. Mr. President, I just wanted to thank the board again for appointing me to the board. This is a special, special, special night. And we've been through a lot since April, and a lot of people have said, gosh, they just must hate you to put you on the board during a pandemic. But I wouldn't miss tonight for anything. I'm so excited to see our friends over here, and we just look forward to what's going to happen a little later. So that's all I'm going to say tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lamont Dixon.
Yes, well, I will say, you said we can't go to campuses. I was invited to the Kingwood Park High School Chamber Orchestra concert. It was very well organized. You had to pick your seats to make sure we were all socially distanced. So it was wonderful to see the Lakeland Elementary students tonight perform. It just seeing 2 concerts basically in a 7-period time frame really shows where it all begins and where it will end. I really enjoyed that. I am extremely excited about the Fine Arts Wheel in the district. So thank you all very much, everybody that has been working on that. Happy birthday, Mr. Ingelaghi. And also, I don't see Ms. Monbaron anywhere, but happy birthday also to Jerry Monbaron. And other than that, Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So prior to tonight's meeting, we had a public hearing with our the first accounting rating, and for as long as I can remember, we were top-notch, exemplary, whatever the accolade is supposed to be. Got a perfect score this year. Hats off to Mike Seal and his team. We always talk about excellence in Humble ISD and everything we do, and it starts with sound fiscal management. And Mike, I want to thank your team once again for that. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I whispered to Lucy up here, and I said, you know, when I went to Lakeland 50 years ago, I couldn't spell violin, let alone play one. So I'm excited that we're able to open that concept up to those kids, and we'll be expanding that to North Belt as well. So that's very great. Ms. Morrison, I'm not sure if this is in your committee comments, so I'm going to steal your thunder if it is. So coming up in January, as the kids said, the FFA show, the auction will be on Thursday, January 21st, instead of Friday, so Thursday the 21st. For the first time ever, they have the online auction, online give for those kids that didn't actually make the top 10 and make the sale, which is fantastic. We try to buy animals in the show itself, but then go back later and try to find a kid that did not make the sale and give them a monetary donation for their animal as well. So I'm glad that they're doing that. That's a huge, huge thing. I've met with a few community partners recently, and they do the same thing, and they're going to be glad to hear that there is a platform to be able to do that. The following weekend is the Humble Barbecue Cook-Off. All proceeds go to benefit the Humble ISD Education Foundation. And the weekend after that, so 3 weekends in a row, it's rodeo time in Humble. So that third weekend, which would be February 5th and 6th, the Humble Rodeo. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 73rd year for the Humble Rodeo, 74th year for the Humble Rodeo. And this year we have Josh Ward coming in on Friday night. And on Saturday night, we have Dos Borrachos. We have a combo of Kevin Fowler and Roger Krager. And this is important because Roger Krager was the very first act put on the stage at the Humble Rodeo back in 2002, if I remember correctly. And then Kevin Fowler has appeared at the show more than any other act. And so we're really excited about having them come and entertain the community. So look forward to seeing all of you there, and everybody have a Merry Christmas. Dr. Fagan?
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I don't want to forget to say this. I'm so proud of the Humble ISD staff, the teachers, the bus drivers, the folks in the cafeteria, the administrators, the counselors, the librarians, the OTs. I could go on and on, list every single one of them. It has been a really different, challenging fall for every single person, regardless of department or role. Everything has been different, and it has been personally and professionally challenged for each and every one of us. And, you know, we keep saying this, right? Well, it's an extraordinary year with Harvey. It's an extraordinary year with Imelda. It's an extraordinary year with, and, you know, just how many extraordinary years, you know, in a row. And all of that said, still, the staff of Humble ISD, the Humble ISD family rises to the occasion. They rise to the challenge. They meet the students where they are, and they help them get to where they need to be. And if that means personal and professional growth for each and every adult, then that's what we do. We figure out how to use Schoology, and we figure out how to use Seesaw, and we figure out how to use Google Classroom, and we figure out how to have some students in front of us and some students at home, and students coming back and forth, and counselors changing schedules all the time because it's best for students. And we do that because it's best for students. And HR is different this year because it's best for staff and because great staff are best for students. And so it's been a really challenging and rigorous, I would say, fall. And it's time for a holiday break for the Humble ISD family. It is time for everybody to have a minute to just enjoy their immediate family, if that's the case that they're in, or whatever they have selected for their family, and just have that time to celebrate and enjoy and recharge, or as Dr. Covey says, sharpen the saw. And so I didn't want to say my other things without saying that, because I'm just so incredibly proud of all that Humble ISD has been, and all that we are today, and all that we have ahead of us with Performing Arts Wheels and Career and Technical Education Wheels that will give sixth graders the chance to really think about things differently than we ever have before. You know, middle school was always intended to be exploratory. And then No Child Left Behind came in, and that kind of got thrown out a little bit because, well, we need to do more reading and more math so we can do more testing. And really, you know, the developmental needs of children are at the forefront of everything we do, whether it's in pre-K with learning through play or using fine arts as an opportunity to learn and connect the brain and math differently and other conceptual ideas in at Lakeland and North Belt just to see what happens, and or whether it's giving sixth graders the opportunity to see what it would be like to work as a vet tech or in cosmetology or many other career pathways. So very proud of everything. And I want to say that because we could have said, you know, dealing with COVID is all we can do. You know, that would have been acceptable. We're going to teach and we're going to deal with COVID. That's it. But true to form and fashion, we didn't. We said, no, we're going to move forward on performing arts and Kate Wheels and all of these other innovative things because, one more time, it's best for students. So that leads me to the other half of my comments. So some people may have noticed today that when Dr. Rohn, who's worked very diligently with Dr. Brown to constantly monitor and give us metrics and updates and information, when he posted our matrix today, you may have noticed that it's yellow. And so the timeliness of that for the board meeting wasn't good because, as you all know, agendas have to be posted 72 hours in advance for open meetings law. So we were not able to add that as an agenda item. When we started the year, we knew far less than we know today about COVID, about how it impacts students, staff, classroom spread, and also mental and health needs of students. And so today we see things a little differently. And as we go into what will be the rest of this week and next week before break, we do not intend to change our schedule at all. We want to continue with the schedule that we're on. We believe it's in the best interest of students. We are in close contact with our hospital partners. Dr. Brown does that almost every day, I feel like. And beyond that, we are monitoring our own data constantly, and we don't see classroom spread. Classrooms are not the origination, and you've probably seen that in the media lately. There's a lot of articles about the fact that at the end of the day, nobody really knew what was going to happen when school reopened, but what we learned was that is not, it's community spread where people get together in groups and stuff like that, where people are seeing more of those spread events, not in classrooms. Our students and staff have been incredibly vigilant in mask wearing and washing hands and hand sanitizer and all of those things we've asked them to do. And we've really worked hard because another thing that we've learned is that for some students, access to school is really critical. It's critical for their mental health, it's critical for their learning, it's critical for their needs as far as food and access to medical professionals, teachers, counselors, librarians, technology, access to just a lot of things that they need. And so because of that, I believe our commitment to empowering each and every family to make the very best decision for them personally and their children and their life circumstances has been a really important one and continues to be that way. So if there are concerns about the situation at hand, we welcome families to let us know and contact us, and we will work with you to meet your needs. But we intend to finish this semester strong and then sort of regroup and come back with where we're headed in the next semester. And that's what we're doing right now, is looking at a lot of different opportunities that may be ahead of us. But the bottom line is that open schools are good for a lot of kids. Most kids need to be able to access their classrooms, their friends, their teachers, their chemistry labs, their ag programs, their wrecked cars that they're fixing, all of those things that we all know connect kids to each other, to school, to life. And for a lot of kids, we just have to remember, you only get one year in first grade. You know, you don't, these developmental windows, they come and then they go, and you can't get them back. And so we're really paying attention to what we're learning about what's happened with kids who haven't had access to school. And even our own students, with the 6 months that we were closed, you know, we have seen some challenges in the learning and in other areas. And so we're much smarter today than we were even 4 or 5 months ago about what students need, want, and desire, what families need from us, and also what is safe in our classrooms. And so we do not believe that the AB schedule is one that was was very successful for staff and students. I don't believe that we will likely recommend that going forward as an option. So we would ask the board to allow us to return in January with new considerations for how we will monitor district spread, classroom spread, campus spread. We're doing that now, but also going forward, and also what that might look like and how it might be different than we originally thought based on all that we've learned in the last few months. So I think that's all I have. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays also. And really, the year has been rigorous, but has gone quickly. And we're all stronger than we were before, but we really do need 2 weeks. And I think that if anybody in the district were honest, they would say that's the case. So we really appreciate all the community and the parental support. I told the PTA presidents that about a week ago, that the support that our teachers have gotten is really outstanding, and I thank our business community, our PTAs, our parents, flexibility, kindness, support, honest feedback. It's been a true partnership, which is why the Humble ISD family is unique, is because it is a partnership, and that's been the hallmark of our success time and time again, and that's just one more example. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fagan. Moving on to board associations and committees, we're going to start to my left with the Advocacy Committee. Ms. Toomey.
So a couple of months ago, in our board meeting I guess that was in October, we mentioned that the Advocacy Committee, the focus for this year was going to be on evaluation of a potential virtual academy going forward. So as Dr. Fagan mentioned, we've had significant challenges to overcome with COVID, and we've learned a lot of things from those challenges. And what we've learned is that virtual is not for everyone, but we do have a significant subset of students that are flourishing under a virtual model. And so we wanted to take a look as a district of, is there a possibility of carrying forward that virtual model in a post-COVID world? And so there have been through the administration, a couple of sort of subgroups that have been evaluating what that would look like, and then what potential changes we need to advocate for in this upcoming legislative session, legislation that might need to be introduced. And so I've just had a look at some preliminary stuff that's coming from the district, and as soon as they finish that up, then I will get that out to the rest of the trustees.
All right, thank you very much. Audit Committee, Ms. Morrison.
Yes, sir. The internal audit department has finished half of the buildings, half of the campuses. They are also continuing the review on HB3. They'll finish out the campuses throughout the rest of the campuses throughout the year. Also, I want to remind everybody that the board members that remember that you can access those audit reports through the internal audit department webpage. You can click on the report link and you can get those. So that's where we're at right now.
Thank you very much. Building and Planning Committee, that would be me. So you're going to see several agenda items tonight. You all should have received your biweekly report. I know some of you had a few questions on some of these agenda items, and I saw that those were answered, so hopefully they were answered to your needs. But we've got work at Humble High School, we got athletic improvements, we got architects for multiple projects, general contractor for a project, so a lot of things going on and a lot of work all the way through. When we talk about, Dr. Fagan was talking about the innovative learning and the fine arts wheel and so forth. COVID didn't stop that, and it sure hadn't stopped Mr. Correa's group from working either. It has slowed a few things down, but for the most part, we've come in on time, at or below budget. The bid environment continues to be very favorable for us, which again is why we're able to escalate the construction of North Belt Elementary. So really excited about where we're at. It's been a group effort between Mr. Correa's department and Mr. Seals' department. making sure the money is there where we need it and when we need it. And so I just thank both of your departments for everything that you do. Moving on, Board and Superintendent Evaluation Committee, that will be Ms. Lamont Dixon.
Nothing to report. We will be meeting after our January board meeting.
All right, perfect. Now we're moving on to Finance Committee. Mr. Scarfo, and I might have stole some of your thunder with my earlier
No, that's
comments
fine,
as well.
because no, not at all, Mr. President, because I don't think you can give enough accolades in that
Okay.
area. And not too many people were here when we had the hearing earlier on the first report, the financial integrity rating system. And this is amazing, 18 years, this is 18 years running where we've gotten a superior rating, the highest rating. And if you have a chance, I mean, you should look at, there's 15 indicators that you have to go through, and next year it's going to be 20, so they decided it wasn't hard enough. But if you look at some of those indicators and what they mean, just give you a couple of examples. Number 10 was debt service coverage ratio sufficient to meet required debt service? You know, do we have enough money to pay our debt? That's pretty crucial. We have nearly 3 times what's needed. That for a private sector company, man, that's a good showing. I got to tell you that right there. And on another one, number 13, you have to compare the data that's reported through the PEAM system to what our financial reporting shows, and you have to be within 3% of all expenditures. You know, hundreds of millions of dollars of expenditures. You have to be within 3% between the both reports. These guys, they didn't hit the 3%. They had $307, let alone 3%. I mean, that's as a finance guy, that's just amazing. It really is. So really, if you get a chance to look at those indicators and what these guys accomplished, it's great. And Mr. Seal and his whole team, again, like we had a chance to celebrate you guys last month, doing it again. I also wanted to shout out to Ms. Hempel's Tex group. They're on track, already running ahead of last year's collections, which is great. And for all of 2019, they were over 98% of all our tax billables they collected. That's pretty good. I know Donnie's not too thrilled about that because he doesn't get a lot of business from us, but that's great that we get to save all that money. And just one last thing. Chairman Huberty was speaking at the last BizCom, not Summer Creek, it was Kingwood Park, the BizCom, and he was talking about looking ahead at the budget, and that's one of the things that we're going to have to be a little bit concerned about, because back in July they're projecting a $4.8 billion shortfall, but things are starting to improve a little bit on sales tax revenue. And Chairman Huberty also said that the Permanent School Fund and the Land Board has decided to, for the next fiscal year, increase their contributions by $1.2 billion over what it was last year. So that helps to knock down some of that budget. And he also mentioned that the internet tax they put in place last year, they were expecting maybe it would raise $500 million in a year. They're looking at, and there's one of the silver linings of the pandemic, because of all the online shopping, it's at about $1.5 billion. So those are all some positives that are happening to try to whittle down that deficit that they're looking at, because they're going to be under a lot of pressure. There's, as always, lots of needs and never enough resources. But fingers crossed, and we'll all have to get on board and try to help push that train down the track. But that's all I have to say, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Scarfo. Board representation for the Education Foundation, Ms. Morrison.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Sitton, for giving us our update on the rodeo. And I would also encourage everybody to go out to the stock show and the rodeo and the cook-off, because it is a fun time. Tonight, though, the foundation update, I would like to recognize 2 foundation board members upon their retirement from the board and thank them for their service. They are Tom Cook and Jenna Armstrong. Tom Cook formally joined the foundation board in 2007, but he was there in the beginning when the foundation formed in 1999. His leadership was integral in the beginning days of the foundation's work on the Humble Rodeo and also served on the golf tournament committee for several years. We are grateful for Tom's leadership in developing the foundation to what it is today. Jenna Armstrong joined the foundation board in 2016. We appreciate her service as a dedicated board member and on the governance committee. Jenna's commitments have recently grown to serving as incoming chair for both the state and National Chamber Association and was recently appointed to the Texas Water Development Board's San Jacinto Regional Flood Planning Group. So we will let her roll off the foundation board so she can focus on preventing future flooding in our community, a critical issue for all of us. So thanks to both of these visionary leaders, and we wish them well as they continue to do good for our community. And we know that we will see them both, but they have done so much for the foundation and for Humble ISD.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. All right, let's move on to our action items from closed session. Ms. Toomey, could you read some of those back in the form of motions for me?
I move that the board approve the administration's personnel recommendations as presented in closed session with addendum.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor? 7-0.
I move that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation to propose the termination of the probationary contract of Gregory Porter for good cause and in the best interest of the district, and authorize the superintendent to provide all notices and take all actions necessary for the same.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor? 7-0. Thank you very much. Now let's move on down to the consent agenda. All right, item A, approval of minutes for the regular board meeting held on Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. Consent. Item B, budget transfers and amendments, including increases for the purchase of iPads for COVID testing, Tableau, Cardinex, COVID cleaning supplies, and small wares. Consent. Item C, goods, professional services, and non-construction services exceeding $50,000 in the aggregate or $25,000 individually. Consent. Item D, tax refunds. Consent. Item E, board authorization of interlocal agreements. Consent. Item F, approval of RFP 2021-006, educational service consultant. Consent. Item item G, approval of RFP 2021-007R, educational and curriculum subscriptions, internet, web-based access, and software. Consent. Item H, approval of RFP 2021-009R, restaurant and catering services. Consent. Item I, approval of new course offerings at middle and high schools for 2021-2022 school year. Consent. Item J, targeted improvement plan for Whispering Pines Elementary and Jack Fields Elementary. Consent. Item K, memorandum of understanding with other police agencies. Consent. Item L, consideration of work authorization package number 3 for the Humble High School renovations and additions project. Consent. Item M, change order number 1, Lakeland Elementary replacement and elementary number 30. Consent. Item N, change order number 1, high school athletic improvements project. Consent. Item O, architect and engineer selection for summer 2021 T buildings. Consent. Item P, architect selection of the North Belt Elementary replacement project. Consent. Item Q, architect selection for Group 3 of the multipurpose rooms. Consent. Item R, architect selection for the FEMA flood mitigation project at the ISC building. Consent. Item S, general contractor selection for Kingwood High School, K Park High School grandstands project CSP 2021-022. That is also consent. Ms. Toomey, could you read that back to me in the form of a motion, please?
I move to approve consent agenda items A through S.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor? That will be 7-0. Thank you very much. Okay, moving to our action items.
We need a motion first?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So I want to make a few comments before we make a motion and then discuss. So Humble ISD prides itself on being a family, prides itself on longevity, attracting and retaining the best quality educators, whether it's in administration, bus drivers, restaurant personnel, cafeteria workers, and superintendents. Since 1933, Dr. Fagan is our 6th superintendent. Since 1933. Average tenure of the previous 5, pressure's on, is almost a little right at 17 years. And tonight we have an agenda item to discuss one of those. Dr. Guy M. Sconzo served as Humble ISD Superintendent of Schools from 2001 to 2016. Passed away well before anybody, I'll stick to the script or I'll just stop. He passed away while surrounded by loved family on Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, following a battle with cancer. Dr. Sconzo devoted more than 4 decades of his life to education, serving students in New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Texas. His career included 26 years as superintendent, including his 15 years as superintendent at Humble ISD. In Humble ISD, he led the district through a 60% student enrollment increase and the opening of 14 schools. In 2007, he was named the Texas State Superintendent of the Year by the Texas Association of School Administrators. In 2013, he was selected as Region 4 Superintendent of the Year, and it was among 5 finalists for State Superintendent of the Year. Under Dr. Sconzo's leadership, Humble ISD was named the best large school district in Texas in the 2015 HEB Excellence in Education Awards. Since retiring from Humble ISD, Dr. Sconzo continued to serve Texas Public Schools as Executive Director of the Fast Growth School Coalition. Dr. Sconzo was also a community leader and devoted volunteer, serving on the boards of the Flaming Arrow District of the Boy Scouts of America, Humble Area Assistance Ministries, Humble Intercontinental Rotary Club, Lake Houston Area Chamber of Commerce, Lake Houston Family YMCA, Lone Star College Chancellor's Executive Advisory Council, Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital, and University of Houston Impact Council. After Hurricane Harvey, he was asked to help lead Recovery Lake Houston to repair and protect communities from flooding. Dr. Sconzo believed in a personal approach to students and everyone he encountered. Dr. Sconzo routinely sent handwritten notes and had a gift for remembering people's names and details about their lives, even though he interacted with thousands of students and staff members on a daily basis. Dr. Sconzo was a champion of the Quest Early College High School and oversaw the program's transition to an early college program in 2010. Quest has grown to an enrollment of over 400 students and is gaining a renovated campus, a permanent home, once and for all, something that he championed for years. This is due to be completed in 2021, and that will be able to serve an expanded 600 students. Quest has helped hundreds of students from all backgrounds to earn associate degrees and college credit at no additional cost to the students, reducing barriers to higher education and setting these students in a strong position as possible to be successful in college and beyond. At this time, I would like for someone to make a motion. The consideration is to rename Quest Early College High School for Dr. Sconzo. Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Pres-
We need to open it up as a,
Well, I was going to make a
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. President, I move that we rename Quest Early College High School to Guy Sconzo Early College High School.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now let's open it up for discussion. Mr. Scarfa.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I'd like to amend that motion for it to say, we rename it the Guy M. Sconzo Early College High School.
Okay. Mr. Lopez.
Am I still on? Yeah, I've talked to people, especially people who he's related to, and their preference is Guy Sconzo Early College High School, if that's correct. Okay. Which do you prefer, Diane? Okay, I'm fine with the amendment then. Okay.
Okay, so we need to,
We have to,
okay, so we can have the discussion then, and then vote on the amendment?
no, I was making a formal amendment to that motion, so we need to. Right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. I got you. I'm perfect. Yeah, I'm good either way. Based on the email, that's why I was questioning that, because I didn't think you wanted the initial. So I'm good either way. Okay. All right, so now let's open it up for discussion before we formally vote on,
We're voting on the initial.
Just the amendment.
all right, now I'm really confused.
I think we can just vote.
So, yeah,
We just need to vote
but I
on the
wanted
amendment.
everyone to have an opportunity to make some comments before the vote. so-
Yeah, but that's just the vote on the amendment. So the now is,
Okay.
we have to, then we can discuss, because we're just changing it from Guy Sconzo Early College High School to Guy M. Sconzo Early College High School. So we need to vote on the amendment right now, and
Okay,
then
all right.
go for that. This
So
is
we
way
have
too
a
complicated.
motion to amend. Do I have a second? And we have a
We already have a second.
All those in favor for the motion to amend? All right, that's 7-0.
All right,
Now we
Now-
can discuss?
discuss.
Perfect. Okay, now we can discuss. So, comments from the board. Yes, Ms. Lamont Dixon.
Well, I'll be brief, but I want to just say that it's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this vote tonight. I'm humbled. Dr. Sconzo, I probably didn't know him as well as some of the people on the board, but I did know him, and he was very warm, always knew my name. So I love that part in this talk that you gave. I'm just really, I don't know, I don't want to cry, but just want to say I'm happy to be a part of this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Morrison.
I just want to agree, and I might cry. I think it's perfect. It suits it. So that's it.
Mr. Lopez.
I'm typically not an emotional guy, but this year's been rough, not only because of everything everyone's going through, but I've got a son who's graduating, our only child, so it's just layers and layers of everything. But I will say that Nancy's 100% right that this is appropriate, and I was just thinking with us going through our machinations on trying to figure out how to vote on that, Guy's laughing right now in heaven, so that was, but long story short is that I made some comments last board meeting about all of this, and I didn't want, some people called me and said, he didn't start. I knew he didn't start it, but the start Quest, but Quest would not be would not be here without Guy Sconzo, and that is a fact. It was Trey Kramer, actually, he and I talked about it, is that it was on his deathbed, and then Guy threw it into Summer Creek, and then, then Humboldt, he single-handedly kept that school alive. And so it is very much appropriate to have his name on that school and that building forever. So I'm very proud to be a part of this. I'm very glad that we are doing this, and those are my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Ingloggy.
Sure. A few comments. Number one, as Martina said, this is an amazingly wonderful honor. It really is an amazing honor to be part of the 7 that get to raise our hand tonight. So I'm super excited about that. My dad had 2 great careers. He was an Air Force officer, one of the youngest men ever to make full colonel, and then he was in faculty at Texas A&M, which Guy liked a lot, and had great careers. And I'll never forget when he retired from the Air Force, this general was talking about what a great guy he was and all his accolades. And then at the end, he said, you kids, he talked to me and my brothers and my sister, he said, you kids remember something though. As wonderful as your dad was, your mom was better. She was a wonderful lady, and the 20 years and 2 days that he spent in the Air Force wouldn't have been what it was without your mom. So I just want to remember that tonight with Diane. You're a wonderful lady, and Guy would not have done what he did without you. So even though we're going to have 7 people vote here in a minute, it's really, if this was ever a community vote, tonight would be the night. It would be 99.9%. There's always 0.1 knuckleheads out there, but this is going to be a slam dunk community vote, and we're so excited for you and your family. And I don't know when the dedication will be, but I'll probably won't be on the board then. Maybe I will again. Who knows? Somebody else will retire. I'll be back again, getting more Christmas presents. So anyway, it's so good to see all of you over there. I can't wait to give you a hug, and thank you for all you did for our district as well, Diane. You're an amazing woman, and thank you for being here tonight, and what a special night. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Ingloggy. Ms. Toomey.
So it is no secret on the board that, as a general matter, I generally disfavor naming schools after people. And so I struggled a little bit with that. And I spent, just with my own personal convictions, I spent some time in prayer over that. And not really having much to do with Dr. Sconzo, because, as I mentioned at the last meeting, he was an amazing gentleman that actually had a very large impact on my life as well. And I would not be serving on the board if it was not for him and his encouragement and everything that he lended to that. So, but I have peace with the way I'm going to vote today, and here's why. Because in 1995, so before Dr. Sconzo came, into the district, we had Quest Magnet School, but it was not the Quest that we have today, the Quest Early College High School that we have today, and it is literally through the leadership of Guy Sconzo that we have the school that we have in existence today. And as, just building on what Mr. Lopez had said, without his leadership, we would not have Quest Early College High School. So it was his direct impact. And I can't really think of a better time than right now in the year that they are getting their own facility. I mean, just in the time that I've lived in the district, they used to be at the community, no, way before that. They were
community center.
the community center. When I first moved in the district, I think they were over at our community center, and then they were at Summer Creek High School, and then they were at Lone Star Atascocita, and then they were at Humble High School, and now they have their own building, and there's going to be significant renovations where they actually have a home. So this is an amazing time to just rebrand what is already an amazing school, and an amazing school that's path was set into motion by Guy Sconzo. So I will break with my general reservation because of the impact that he had, not just on this district, but on that individual school. And so I do think that it is an amazingly unique opportunity that we have at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Toomey. Before I ask Dr. Fagan for comments, I want to commend you, Ms. Toomey. We claim that we're a team of 8, but if we all think the same all the time, then we're not all necessary. And the idea that we can all sit up here, have our own opinion, and then sit back and look at the situation and make up our own decision and have peace about it, that's what makes this board, to me, the best school board in the state of Texas. And those are things that team of 8 concept is what Dr. Sconzo started as well, and what we hope to continue for many, many years to come. So I do want to commend you for your courage, but also for the decision you're going to make. But Dr. Fagan, would you like to say a few words before we vote?
Oh, that all came down to the end, didn't it? Well, I just want to say thank you, Diane, for being here, and family and friends of Dr. Sconzo. You know, it's big shoes to fill in Humble ISD following Guy Sconzo. And when I said this last time, so I won't go into all the details, but that quiet little entrance I had, you know, Dr. Sconzo was nothing but supportive and kind and generous, and he didn't have to be. You know, he really didn't have to be. But that's just who he was. And Quest Early College High School is one of the highest performing early college high schools in the state of Texas. And it is that way because he always believed in them no matter what. And I had the opportunity to talk to Dave Martin one day, and we were talking about this topic, and he goes, boy, that is right. That should be named after. I tried to do this and that, and he always got in my way and saved that school, you know. And so, you know, this has all been said, but really there's something special about Quest, the opportunity it provides for students to see themselves as college students and to walk away with an AA degree if they so choose, and in some years 90% do, and an opportunity that Dr. Sconzo put before them, and wouldn't let it go because he had a vision. He saw something better than where it started, and he wasn't going to stop until it arrived there. And so, what great timing, right? With the ability to build a Quest that campus deserves, those students deserve, right on Will Clayton Parkway, right where everybody goes by all the time. A prominent new beautiful building with Dr. Sconzo's name for all of us to remember the huge impact he had, the Humble ISD family that he created, and he truly was the heart of the school district. So to have him right in the center and the heart of the district in the city of Humble, and that campus really is the right set of circumstances. So I appreciate the deliberation of this board to come to this place and to take this action. So I wish I could vote. I don't get to vote, and, as you know, but I'm very appreciative of this work.
Thank you, Dr. Fagan. And Mr. Scarfo.
Thank you. I'm very happy that we're going to do this. When it was, you know, first brought it up some months back, it kind of wind his way to where we are today, and I'm very happy about that, but at the same time, I'm very sad that we're here doing this. Because it's difficult to kind of talk about it. I would hope that this would please Guy and the recognition, but he wasn't one who ever sought that recognition, although it followed him because of all the great things he did over his career, in helping children, as well as adults in the education field, and just the standards he set, the integrity that he displayed each and every day, and how he treated people regardless of their position in the organization. We talk a lot now about diversity and inclusion. Well, I'll tell you, he could write a book on that because he treated people, he valued people, and they knew it. And I'm honored and privileged to have called him a friend for quite a long time. I miss him dearly. I hope this would strike him as a great honor. I believe it is. And Diane, it's great to see you here, and Peggy and Betty. It's and the story he always used to love to tell about how talking to my mom, and they determined that Guy and I, our first 4 years of our lives, we lived in the same square block in Brooklyn, New York, a city of 4 million people. And he was always astounded at how the two of them came to that conclusion, because he was thinking, like, how is that possible? And so that was kind of nice. We started out our lives there, and we ended up here to get some time and get to know each other. So I thank each and every one of my board colleagues for moving this ahead. I believe that Diane and her family, I know how much they appreciate that and the honor that this bestows on him, and well, as well it should. So as I said, I'm very happy and very sad at the same time, but I'm glad we're able to do this. So thank each and every one of you for supporting this. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Not seeing any more comments. It gives me great honor and great pleasure to call this agenda item to a vote, and that is to rename Quest Early College High School the Guy M. Sconzo Early College High School. All those in favor? 7-0. Motion passes. Congratulations. Got a little bit of business to take care of, and then we can all give hugs, socially distanced hugs, I should say. Item 7, information items, financial services reports, our normal monthly reports. Not seeing any questions or comments there. Item 8A, consideration of topics for future board business.
Mr. President, Dr. Fagan mentioned in her comments, I just wonder if should we formalize and have you, for the board, direct her and staff to, between now and our next meeting, to look and relook at the current metrics and rubric that we're using to see how we might need to change that based on all the information we have today, not just as a district, but as a nation, as this pandemic has grown, and what we may need to change that so that it can continue to help guide us, as we said it would. So I would like to ask that.
I would agree. So Dr. Fagan, at our January board meeting, an update on the COVID protocols and the dashboard specifically.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. Yes?
And I think this covers it, but also kind of how we're going to move forward.
Yes,
for the spring semester.
protocols and the dashboard, yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else for future board business? Not seeing any. It is 8:23 PM. We are adjourned.